What's up, everybody? One Fun Guy podcast in the studio tonight. I just wanted to give everybody a heads up that I will be attending WindUp Chicago tomorrow. My goal is to do a podcast live from WindUp. I don't know how that's going to work out, though, just with the sound and the people behind me and all the noises going on. I don't know if I put in my headphones, if it's going to actually matter with the people walking behind me. I'm sure it's going to be loud. They're expecting a bunch of people. There's going to be tons of different watch vendors there, watch enthusiasts, watch fans, people that are trying to get into the market as well. So it's going to be a fun event, but I just don't know. My plan was to go live from there. So maybe I'll just go live from there so you guys can kind of see what's going on. And then if I'm able to do a podcast, maybe there's an area or a section where it's quieter, or if I find anybody that wants to hop on with me and do it that way, I will. But I just wanted to give everybody the heads up that I will be live tomorrow from WindUp. I don't know if I'm going to do my podcast there. My next scheduled guest is going to be Letitia. I know we had an incident with her not being able to come on, and then we were going to go live, but she wanted to do it together, not remotely. So I completely understand her wishes, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do. But she'll be live with me next Friday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and she will be live in the studio with me. So, bar anything else, in her life happening, hopefully she has a nice, calm, smooth week. She'll be my live guest next Friday night. So tomorrow again will be from WindUp Chicago. I will be there at noon. The doors open at 11. The show starts at 12. So I'll be there probably until about 3:30 or 4. I'm going to try to meet up with Greg Watchman. He was the guest 3 episodes ago. Greg was a avid watch collector and a watch enthusiast like me. And we talked watches, we talked, livelihood, we talked about other stuff. He is going to be a guest on my podcast coming up in a few weeks again. We're going to talk about his terrible tragedy, but we're also going to talk about the watch community and how that helped him pull through it, and why watches are so very important to him, and like they are to me, for different reasons, obviously very different reasons, but enthusiasts kind of have that together. There's a couple other people that I have in mind to have on my podcast as a guest to talk about watches as well. I'm also planning a horror movie podcast, so I have some people lined up for that. I just reached out to a bunch of people today about being guests on my podcast, trying to figure out dates and times. I am actually going tomorrow to buy a calendar for myself. I put everything in my phone, which is pretty much my go-to, but I actually want to have like a written calendar where I can actually pencil people in and make sure that everything is going the way that it's supposed to, and be the way that it's supposed to be. So that'll be super fun. I'm definitely excited about that, and to try to see what's happening there. And then, like I said, after WindUp, I will go live tomorrow night on TikTok. So if you don't follow me there, follow me on there. I'm One Fun Guy Podcast over on TikTok. I'll be live from there. That video is going to be posted on YouTube, as long as this video tonight will be posted there. All my stuff from WindUp tomorrow will be posted on there. So everything will live on YouTube pretty much in the next 24 to 48 hours, depending on what I do on Sunday, if I go back to WindUp or not. I'm about 50-50. If it's a good show, I might end up going back there on Sunday, taking another ride. If it's just okay, or I saw everything I needed to see on Saturday, then I will not go back on Sunday. But either way, I will go live again on Sunday with the recap of everything, talk about my podcast with Letitia coming up, and what my guests are going to be in the future, and just kind of, like I said, keep all my ducks in a row. I have a plethora of guests that I'm trying to line up right now. It is just logistically speaking, it's difficult to line people up on your schedule with their schedule to find a date and time that works, and then not have life incidences get in the way, right? That's the hardest thing that I've experienced, is that somebody says, oh, I want to do a podcast. We have a date and time plan. And then they reach out to me that morning and say, hey, listen, something came up. I'm not going to be able to make it tonight. But when you've promoted it and you put it out there and you say that this is what's happening and this is what's coming up, then I go by myself. And that's kind of where I don't want to fall into that realm. I always want to have guests. That's the point. But I understand, being a small podcaster and being, a newbie in the game, that stuff like that happens. So anytime there's adversity, I just try to get around it. I try to forgive and forget if things come up. I just try to be the best podcaster I could be and give the most entertaining show that I can. And to me, that's what's important. So even though when I go live by myself, I don't really have anything to talk about because all my topics were meant for a guest. But when I don't have one, I still want to put the videos out and, show myself on camera just to keep the algorithms going with the other universes that are out there, right? The other apps and the other social media platforms. The more you play the game, the more they push your stuff out. So, even though I want to go live with a guest once a week, and that is my plan, and I have the next 4 booked after Letitia, it's just sometimes hard when somebody cancels last minute or something pops up and they say they can't do it. It kind of leaves you hanging. So, I don't want to do that. But at the same time, there's been weeks where I've done 2 or 3 podcasts in a week. So yes, it makes up for it, but it's still not the same. If you do podcasting or you talk to people or you have a social media presence, um, it's just not the same thing, right? Yes, it's a video and it puts it out into the algorithm and they see it, but it's not the same as having somebody on that you've promoted, that their viewers come and watch you. Your viewers can go and follow them if you find them interesting or you find something that they want to put into the world. So I mean that's just kind of one of the things that happen when you're doing this kind of stuff, is that logistically speaking, it's hard to line up dates and times, but it's also hard to move forward when a guest says, hey, something happened and I can't make it, and they give you a couple hours or maybe that morning in advance. So it's hard to find somebody within a 5-hour window to come live with you. If they don't have anything planned, it's great, they can do that, but if they do, they can't. So it's just one of the things that it's just kind of another adversity that you have to get around, another bump in the road. And I look at my podcast as always moving forward, and uh, that's my kind of ambition, is that the train is rolling and I'm just loading up coal, right, keeping it going. And that's kind of how I approach my podcast. When something like that happens, it's just a bump in the road, and it's, are you going to try to get over the bump, or are you going to let the bump keep you away? And I try everything I can to get over that bump, and move on to the next day and time and week and month, and kind of keep it going from there. So it's not been easy that way, but it's every guest I've had a blast interviewing them and talking to them and having a conversation with them. So it's great. So that's the biggest reward in everything I do, is being able to get done with somebody and post their video to YouTube and say, hey world, look at what I did, this is what I've done, and this is what I plan on doing, and this is what I'm going to do moving forward. It's just kind of a nice feeling, right? It's like a small victory that you had, and the small victory adds that add up into big victories. I think I'm 2 people away now, 2 subscribers from hitting 200 on YouTube, and from 200 I'm going to go after 300, after 400, after 500, and keep posting videos, keep putting stuff out, keep doing lives, keep doing shorts. All my content goes over to YouTube, so you can see all my videos from there. Anything that I record, whether it's just me or with somebody, goes on YouTube no matter what. So this video will be up there in about a half an hour when I'm done. And it's just kind of, the way that I'm putting stuff out into the universe. So hopefully people like my stuff. It gets out to more people. It's more beneficial to everybody, and go from there. And then what I'd like to do down the road too is, have a wrestling podcast as well, where, I just kind of talk shop about wrestling, whether it's old school, new school, indifferent, hardcore, whatever it is, we can chat about that. I have a couple of guests lined up that I want to do those kinds of shows with, as well as watches and music and bands and artists and musicians. I just have a plethora of things that I'm interested in that I like to talk about. And I've reached out to somebody today, and he has a sports podcast. So he was like, do you want to talk about sports? And I was like, sure, whatever you want to talk about. So he's going to be a guest on my show, I'm going to be a guest on his show, and we just kind of share the subscribers and kind of go from there. And that's pretty much what it's all about, guys. For me, is just kind of boosting up my numbers. And like I said, if I ever monetize my podcast, all the money I make is going to go directly into my podcast. It's going to be for equipment, for lighting, for sound, for headphones, microphones, and then eventually, hopefully one day, I get my own studio set up, and I can do my podcast from there. And it's an actual studio with professional cameras and professional editors and people working for me to do that. That's the goal, right? Will I get there? Hopefully. If I don't, it's just me, right? I'm a one-man show right now. But I have a good support system. I have a good network. Krista helps me out when she can, so that's awesome. And I do all my own editing, I do all my own posting, I do all my own scheduling. So I'm a one-man show. But eventually, I'd like to get to a point where I can maybe hire a few people to help me, and that money will go towards that. So once I get to that point, it's, I'll rock and roll from there. But I just wanted to thank everybody for, following me. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Please follow me on YouTube. I'm One Fun Guy Podcast. If you subscribe to my channel, that would be great. I'm One Fun Guy Podcast across all the social media platforms. So here on Facebook, over on Instagram, and on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok, guys. I do a lot of stuff on there. That's where I want to go live, set up my TikTok shop, and review products for podcasting. And so that's kind of what my goal is and what I'm aspiring to do. So I appreciate you guys all for the love and support. Thank you again. I'm not going to make this a very long video, but catch me tomorrow at WindUp Chicago. It's going to be a good time, and I will see you guys all tomorrow afternoon from WindUp Chicago. So stay tuned, like, follow, and share. Do all the good stuff. Help me out, and we will see you guys tomorrow.